Last week Dota Plus was released and had a lot of mixed opinions, and some people even saying it's pay to win. Well, I've played 40 games using Dota Plus, and I'm going to tell you what I think about it and where it's kind of going to go in the future. Is it going to improve, or is there even a point of having this subscription? To start things off, I'm going to look at the currency system for Dota Plus, which is called Shards. These shards are used to essentially buy cosmetic items in Dota. However, the thing is that these shards are really hard to obtain, and just by playing matches without trying to do any of the challenges, you're going to have a very hard time to max out a hero. Even leveling up by 1 is quite difficult, you will find, and that you need around 8 wins just to go up without doing any challenges a single level, which is a lot. And the thing is that these hero challenges are also not very intuitive, that they get you to build items you wouldn't normally do, or sometimes they're just insanely hard to achieve 3 stars on, or even just 1 star can be difficult at times. And the thing is that, for example, I got like a Juggernaut challenge that told me to build Mask of Madness, and the other one was to build BKB. They're both items that I wouldn't normally build, and in some cases I even saw people getting asked to buy Armlet on Rubik, which again, these things don't necessarily make sense. As a whole, if you're looking to try and max out a hero, it's probably going to take you about 250 to 500 games to play, which is an awful lot. The whole system is incredibly grindy, and this is something that might shy away from casual users. And if you're trying to get this and you play normal matchmaking, I don't necessarily recommend it. You might find it a little bit entertaining for a month or two, but you'll find that it's just incredibly grindy, the whole system is. So there's 2 main types of things that you'll be purchasing with the shards. You have hero sets and hero relics. The sets are pretty cool looking. They kind of look like these rare sets that you would get in a chest. However, the thing is that they're incredibly grindy to get. I played around 40 to 45 matches and only earned around 15,000 points. Now you need around 75,000 points to unlock a single set, which is an crazy amount if you think about it, and you're probably going to have to play around 100 to 150 matches for a single set based on how many challenges you're beating. Now the other thing is that these hero relics are in a whole other place of their own. The relics are essentially just a stat tracking system. There's nothing special about them. However, they do heavily promote hero spamming, and if you're someone who plays 2 or 3 heroes and that's it, you're gonna like this relic system. However, the thing is that I think it's bad overall for Dota because of how much it encourages the system. However, the thing that a lot of people want to know is the rolling. So you can randomly roll for a relic and you can get a rare one or the normal rarity. However, the thing is that after opening about 40 or 50 relics, have found something really important, is that you have about a 1 to 2% chance of getting a rare relic, and there's maybe about a 50 to 75% chance of getting a duplicate after you've opened around 4 relics on a hero. The one thing that I really want everyone to take away from this video is that the visual representation of the relics is not directly accurate to your probability of getting a relic. Now the thing is that duplicates have a much higher weight, as in if you have 5 relics unlocked and there's 5 ones shadowed out that you haven't unlocked yet, you still probably have around a 60 to 70% chance of getting a duplicate, even though that should be a 50-50 chance. As a matter of fact, I had 4 relics and I rolled something like 6 times in a row where I got a duplicate. It's unbelievable. Like, this isn't even close to 50-50, of where the duplicate rate is way higher than it's shown on the screen. And this, in my opinion, it's really frustrating, the fact that this is even in Dota, the fact that you can get duplicates with any of the cosmetic system, and on top of this, the fact that we can't even see the statistical numbers going on in the background, which in my opinion is something that is really frustrating across most games. There's 2 more things with the cosmetic system which are not really the main things. The first one is the legacy hero sets, which in my opinion most of them are trash, because I already have the sets or I have a better one for that hero. If you're someone who has no sets, maybe you just started playing the game in the past few months, this is kind of a nice little system for unlocking these. It's kind of good for newer players. However, the thing is that you go on to the next part, which is the hero chat wheel. And when you see this first, you're like, oh yeah, the TI7 one was so good, but this hero chat wheel, it's crap. It's actually not, doesn't even compare, and it's so hard to unlock the next like lines for a hero. There's not even a point of having this in the game, in my opinion. It's a super novelty. It's like a shitty version of the TI7 one, to be honest. Now going on to the most controversial topic about Dota Plus, which is the Plus Assistant. This does two things. One does in-game assistant, and it also does post-game analysis, further analysis that you normally get. The in-game assistant is a really good idea, and the idea is to take data from Dota and pull statistics from it to suggest you items, your skill build, and even the hero you pick. However, the problem is that the execution of this is quite mediocre. I wouldn't say poor, but it's improving. I've seen improvements over the past few days. Now, for example, at the very start, it would always suggest Underlord safe lane, regardless of the hero picks. Every single game it was just Underlord safe lane, and now it's still suggesting kind of these bizarre heroes in lanes that don't really make sense. If you're a new player, it's not going to help you. Like, it's really bad for new players, and you still have to use your common sense. But in some cases I've seen like, oh look, there's a Shadow Fiend mid, and it suggests someone on my team to pick Zeus, and they pick Zeus, and we kind of like, he wins the lane because even though he doesn't play that hero. Now the thing is that some people are saying, oh, this is pay to win, but the reality of it is that it's not at all. When we go into the hero builds, it suggests you skill builds on what way you should build your hero. Now the skill builds are something that I would just like stay away from in some cases. Sometimes they're really good and you can tell for some heroes they're really like accurate. However, I've got builds where Tiny not leveling toss. However, I've found item builds to be significantly better executed, as in the suggestions are really good. There's always 2 or 3 builds that show you, oh, this is the type of boots you should build on the hero, these are the items that you should build in what order, and it's almost down to a T, except sometimes you do have to build these situational items and you have to still follow your gut, and you can't just be spoon-fed by the system. One of the reasons why I really like this item build suggestion is because it helps with difficulty breadth. Now when you're typically adding difficulty to the game, you do it in 2 ways. It's adding depth or breadth. So depth is when you take a single thing and you can use it in multiple different ways. So if you take Lion's first spell, it's his stun. You can click on a hero and it will stun on that unit. However, the thing is, if you click on the ground, you have to target it and you have to line it up, predict where the enemy is going to go, but you also get the advantage of having a further range, so you can reach someone that you could normally not have if you were to target them directly. And there's also the thing of where you can line up a single stun and hit multiple heroes, so you can essentially do the equivalent of a Ravage if you're really good at the hero. Now the thing is, breadth is different. It's where you take more and more of the same thing. It's like adding a new hero, adding a new ability to a hero. It's adding more ways that you can disable heroes, adding more items to the shop. Now the thing is that Dota has constantly been adding more and more items. If you're someone that's coming back and forth to the game, leaving it and coming back again, you're just going to be overwhelmed by the amount of items, and even all of these small items like raindrops, and like you had only Orb of Venom beforehand, now you have like Fairy Fire, Mango, Blightstone, all these things that you never had to think about before. And we've only seen 2 items go from the game, which are Poor Man's Shield and Iron Talon. And these item build suggestions help minimize the amount of time that you have to spend looking at the shop and figuring out what you need to buy next, because I'm pretty sure that players at a lot of different skill levels are kind of just scratching their head thinking about what they're going to spend their time doing, whether it be 10 seconds or like new players sometimes taking over a minute looking through the shop. And it helps towards spending less time doing the boring stuff, which is looking at menus trying to figure out what to do next. Just quickly before going off the topic of the assistant suggestions, is that heroes who can be played as both core and support, the skill builds are awful. Lina, Kunkka, they can both be played as core and support, and they're just like all over the place because the data is overlapping from both of them. Now the thing is, these things can improve in the future, and I've even seen improvements over the past few days of the suggestions overall. So hopefully, like, Valve are obviously like working on this behind the scenes. So the last part of the in-game assistant is the heads-up display in the top left. It tells you your KDA, your last hits denies, and most importantly your net worth. However, I found that this system is not pay to win. I barely ever look at it, and it's only useful if you're playing something like mid lane or a carry, and it tells you if you're behind or ahead of what you should normally be playing at your MMR. As a support player, it's just pointless. It doesn't even need to be there. You shouldn't even need to be looking at it. It's something that only works for maybe practicing Shadow Fiend mid. I don't really find it that useful. At first I thought, oh, this is kind of good for learning and getting better at the game. The only thing that allows you to do is kind of gauge if you're playing a little bit better or worse than you normally do. Going on to the last part of Dota Plus, which is the post-game analysis. It has two sections. One is damage and the other one is performance. So the damage section is kind of a little bit pointless, and it kind of gives you, the only thing that allows you to do is to understand where a hero is doing most of their damage, and it might give you a better understanding of how much damage Urn is doing, or Orchid, or what ability is killing you essentially. Also in game you have a debt analysis. It's not that useful, especially if you're someone who plays the game regularly. I found it not useful at all. It might be good if you're a brand new player, or even if just you have a couple of hundred games. I think that that's something that might appeal to you. As a whole, this post-game analysis, the performance part section of it, is also, it's kind of useful, but it's only useful if you're a core player. You can occasionally see the tipping point of where you fell behind, but the problem is that even comparing yourself to a divine player, it doesn't matter because it totally depends on the match. And even though you might be able to get the stats of a divine player, it doesn't matter because you're only playing against players who are at lower ranks than you, and you're not playing against divines. So overall, it's kind of this odd system that gives you a little bit of information. It's not that useful. I don't think it's worth the money directly just for that. But going on to the real question, which is Dota Plus really worth it? And the answer is yes, but it's not for everyone. And here's why. Because if you're someone who spends money on Dota, an Arcana is €30, however, a full year subscription is €35. Even if you don't know what like euro exactly is, there's very little in the difference of like the top tier cosmetic and this thing that might help you get better at the game quicker. And something that's really important to Dota as a whole, if you're trying to grind MMR, is that you need to improve quicker than everyone else, because everyone's getting better at the game, but you need to do it quicker. And that's the thing of whole efficiency. If you're especially someone, if you don't have that much time to spend on Dota, but you have regular income, this is something that will definitely appeal to you. The other thing I want to mention is the fact that there's alternatives out there. One of the most popular ones is Dota Buff Plus, where you get extra statistics on your games like post-analysis. However, it's more expensive than Valve's built-in one to the client. You don't have to alt-tab. But the one thing that I really want to highlight is that even the built-in hero guides are something that already exists, and it's free. If you go into Dota Buff and you go into trending guides for a hero, you can see what the top MMR players are building on your hero and the items, their skill build, and you don't necessarily even need to purchase this thing if you're willing to do it. I do it myself all the time, even before Dota Plus, and I still do it now. I'm going back to it even, and like I don't really see that much of a point of like using the built-in guides. I find that I'm doing wrong things a little bit more than I used to. If you made it this far in the video, thank you for watching, and make sure you subscribe, and if you've already subscribed, hit the notification button.